NASA mission to a $10,000 quadrillion asteroid is 2 months from launch. This is an opportunity to explore a new type of world, not one of rock or ice, but of metal. NASA hopes to get a glimpse of the metal core inside, hidden deep within the Earth, by sending a spacecraft to an asteroid 280 million miles away. The core issue: Earth formed about 4.5 billion years ago, when the dust and gas surrounding our sun began to clump together. Initially, these materials were super hot, but as they cooled, denser ones settled at the center of the planet, eventually forming Earth's core. Scientists believe electric currents in Earth's hot metal core are responsible for the planet's magnetic field, which plays a key role in our planet's habitability, keeping our atmosphere in place and deflecting the solar wind. If there were no magnetic field, we might have to have a very different atmosphere, left without life as we know it, says Eftia Zesta, chief of NASA Geospace Physics Laboratory, saying 16 Psyche is the only known object of its kind in the solar system. Given that Earth is the only place in the universe where life as we know it exists, and its core is key to that habitability, learning more about Earth's core could potentially help us figure out where to look for extraterrestrial life. Direct observations are impossible, though. The core starts 1,800 miles below the surface, and the farthest down we've drilled so far is just 7.5 miles. 16 Psyche. With no way to directly observe Earth's core, NASA is doing the next best thing, sending a spacecraft to study a giant metal asteroid it believes may be the partial core of a planetesimal, a solid object that could serve as a foundation for a planet. This asteroid, 16 Psyche, is located about 280 miles away from us, and if you could pull it down to Earth, you'd have $10,000 quadrillion worth of nickel on your hands, ignoring the fact that the sudden increase in supply would cause the metal's value to plummet, of course. Linda Elkins-Tanton says we learned about inner space by visiting other planets. NASA does not plan to mine 16 Psyche, though, just to study it, and this is an opportunity to explore a new type of world, not one of rock or ice, but of metal, said Linda Elkins-Tanton, principal investigator of Psyche mission, in 2017 when NASA authorized the project. And she said, 16 Psyche is the only known object of its kind in the solar system, and this is the only way humans will ever visit a core. We learn about inner space by visiting outer space, she says. The mission is expected to start with the October 5 launch of the Psyche spacecraft. After taking an energy-saving 2.5 billion mile path to the asteroid, the craft should arrive at its destination in the year 2026. It will then spend 26 months orbiting 16 Psyche from 4 different altitudes, and during this period, Psyche will use its array of instruments to image the asteroid and measure its gravity, magnetic field, and electromagnetic radiation. These measurements should help NASA determine whether it really is a planetary core. If Psyche still has some sort of remnant magnetic field, that probably tells us it really was a core, said Henry Stone, Psyche's project manager. He said it's a strong indication. The bonus features: aside from giving scientists their first up-close look at a metal asteroid, the Psyche mission will also give NASA a chance to test out new communications and propulsion systems. Since the 1950s, NASA has relied almost exclusively on radio signals to communicate with spacecraft, but those systems are slow. It takes anywhere from 30 minutes to several hours to send one high-resolution color image from Mars rover to Earth, and if we're going to send people to Mars and beyond, we're going to need a faster way to communicate with them. The signal itself can't travel any faster, but NASA has recently been experimenting with optical communication systems which use invisible lasers to transmit information. This allows it to send up to 100 times more data in the same transmission than is possible with radio communication systems. NASA's only two-way demonstration of laser communications has been with a spacecraft just 22,000 miles above Earth. The moon is 240,000 miles away. For reference, so it does not know how well the approach would work at vast distances, which is where faster communications would be most useful. And to find out, it's using Psyche to demonstrate the deep space optical communications, DSOC for short. This technology will be used to communicate with the spacecraft once or twice a week until the spacecraft is near Mars, which should take about 2 years. In addition to facilitating the first deep space demo of a laser communication system, Psyche will also be the first spacecraft to use solar electric propulsion system, featuring Hall thrusters to travel through deep space. The technology has been used around Earth and the Moon. This system will use large solar arrays to generate electricity that 4 Hall thrusters will use to separate charged atoms from the neutral gas xenon and accelerate them back out to the back of the spacecraft. This generates a very little thrust, but because Psyche will be traveling in the vacuum of space, a little acceleration is all is needed to eventually reach a speed of 124,000 miles an hour relative to Earth. This solar electric system is also highly efficient. If Psyche were relying on chemical thrusters, it would need 15 times as much propellant. Even in the beginning, when we were first designing the mission in 2012, we were talking about solar electric propulsion as part of the plan, said Elkins Tanton. Without it, we would not have the Psyche mission, and it's become part of the character of the mission. It takes a specialized team to calculate trajectories and orbits using solar electric propulsion. Looking ahead, NASA researchers are now in the final stages of Psyche moon mission preparation. On August 3rd, they successfully tested and installed the spacecraft's solar array, which is about the size of 5 parking spaces when fully deployed. Around mid-August, they plan to start fueling it up with nearly 2,400 pounds of xenon. And if all goes according to plan, the SpaceX rocket carrying Psyche could lift off as soon as 10:38 a.m. EDT October 5th, kicking off the spacecraft's long journey to the sort of center of the Earth. And this is by Christine Hauser Freethink on Collective Spark. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.